Hi, this is Beatrice Leonard, and welcome back and joining me for Travelers with Disabilities Having Fun. Today we're going to be talking with George Wurtzel from the Opportunities Unlimited for the Blind, and their organization is located in Michigan. And I found it very interesting, some of the things that they're doing there at Opportunities Unlimited for the Blind, especially with our young people. And George, I want to thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you for inviting me.
George, I think you're the cause that we had to have a fire drill before I could interview you. So is this program going to be just that hot that we needed a fire drill?
Absolutely.
Okay, great. If you say so, this will work. We got so much to talk about. Tell us a little bit about Opportunities Unlimited for the Blind.
Opportunities Unlimited for the Blind is a 501c3 nonprofit that was formed in 1994, and it was formed because the School for the Blind in Michigan had been closed down, and they had a summer camp that they used to run, and they closed the summer camp along with when they closed the School for the Blind. So we formed our organization to work with the Old Michigan School for the Blind to continue to run their summer camp programs. We ran it in conjunction with them for 5 years, and then the relationship that we had kind of fell apart. And then the School for the Blind only ran it for a couple more years, and they closed it down totally again. And we went to the Department of Education and said our organization, Opportunities Unlimited for the Blind, would like to lease the property and continue to run the camp. So we've been doing that on our own, totally independently since 2004. Mm-hmm. Since 2004, we've run 65 separate programs here. We've run about a little over 1,400 people through. That's kids, adults, parents, educators, and so we run a lot of different kinds of programs. To give you an example, this summer we start off with a family camp, which is parents and their children, or grandparents and their children. We end up with blind parents with sighted children and sighted parents with blind children, and any combination of you can think of. We get about 65 families here for that event.
George, when you and I were talking yesterday, and we were talking about the camps and the things that we would discuss today, at the camps, let's start with your young people. You were telling me that you had your young people from age 7 to 18. What is it like for them when they come to camp? What is it exactly that you're doing there?
We concentrate on skills of blindness. Our number one top priority is always fun, but the things that incorporate and work into our fun is Braille skills. This week we're running a camp that's actually called Braille Camp. We run daily living skills. Everybody's responsible to make their beds every day. Then we work on orientation mobility skills. We have an O&M person on staff during the summer to help everybody with that.
Is your camp only for young people that live in Michigan, that are residents of Michigan?
We have kids from all over the United States coming to our camp now. We're kind of excited about that. We've actually even had some international campers. A kid from Slovakia, another kid from Norway, another kid from South Africa, a kid from Germany.
What makes your camp special?
Well, one of the things that really sets us apart is that we are dedicated to teaching skills of blindness. So if you have a child who's blind and want to work on being a productive part of our society and our world, in the long run, and we oftentimes find that kids who are blind who are in a school system may not know any other successful blind people. And one of the things that we do here that we think is incredibly cool, out of our 30 employees that we have this summer, 18 of our employees are blind. And we scour the U.S. looking for highly skilled and talented blind people, so we have really good role models for the kids to meet with and talk with about issues that pertain to blindness issues.
We were talking about social skills. A lot of times it's difficult for young people that may be mainstream in their schools to develop friendships. And you feel as though that your camp is really good in assisting young people in developing friendships. How do you do that?
Well, one of the things that we know works really well, just basically from experience, is when you get kids in a group who all, in our case, who are all blind, the blindness issue is no longer the issue. Then you're forced to make friends with other kids based on your particular loves and dislikes and likes and talents and skills and interests. And if you take the blindness issue out, the ability to make friends becomes a lot better. And one of the things that we see with our kids when they come here and they learn how to make friends, and they learn that it's okay to be blind, that's the other thing that, the kids really learn here, that it's okay to be blind, and that I may not be good at something because that isn't my skill. I may be really good at arts and crafts stuff, but I may not be really good at spelling, per se. Or there may be another kid who's really good at our drama stuff and isn't very good at the fine motor skills, arts and crafts things. And kids get to see that those are traits that have nothing to do with blindness. Those are traits, that define you as an individual.
Teenagers have a difficult time, regardless. And we're looking at someone who's blind or visually impaired, a teenager, where what your peers think is very important. How do you work with students with disabilities with that?
We work every day with the dress kinds of things. We spend a lot of time talking about, and we actually have some sit-down sessions where we get all the kids in the group and we talk about issues that they all have as it relates to that nonverbal communication stuff. How do you flirt? I mean, what does that term even mean?
Right, because we live in such a visual society.
Yep.
That eye contact, and it's so important to be part of and wanted and to be accepted with your peers. So we're looking at someone, as you mentioned, from age 14 to 18 that's blind. How do you date? And how does this blind guy ask this young lady out?
Yeah. We have a summer prom here every year.
Oh, do you? Oh, that is cool.
Yeah, so all during we have our summer prom real close to the end of the camp year. So all summer long, as camp sessions are going on, everybody knows that this event is going to happen. So they're all trying to get up the courage to ask, each other for the prom. So we've set up an exercise in how that all works.
Okay.
We think that if we can get them to do it here with kids and start to feel comfortable, that when they go back to their environment where they're the only blind person, there again, they'll still feel comfortable enough or as awkward as anybody else does about asking someone to it.
So that is horrible at that age. But, this is a thought. Here we go. Here's the thought. How does a blind person flirt?
Yeah.
I'm asking you, George. You have the classes there.
One of the things that we spend a huge amount of time working at is the cues. When someone talks to you, turn your head in their direction. Don't keep your chin on your chest. Don't fidget with your hands. And when you want to address the person, make sure that you're facing toward them so they know that you're addressing them. As blind people, we certainly are a little bit more tactile. And how do you do that in a non-obtrusive manner? It isn't polite to walk up to someone and start feeling them from the top of their head to the to the.
Well, that's the way they have it on television. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And do you really believe a blind man when he tells a woman, "God, you're cute, you're a cutie"? Do we believe you, George?
Well, it has to be. One nice thing that I've learned in my short time on this earth is beauty is on the inside as much as anything else. And just to have a trophy date is probably not worth much more than the picture is. You need to find out what's on the inside of people and try to work with our kids to try to ask questions and make sure that you ask them about themselves. Don't talk about yourself.
Sometimes people will say that people use the word blindness just for an excuse, or why can't you do this? And sometimes a blind person does need extra assistance. And you still have so many people that are resisting that.
One of the things that I can tell you with working with the children that is really beneficial, especially to mainstream kids who are blind, you got to get them away from their parents, because every parent loves their child, and they do way too much for their children, and they can't stand to see their child struggling to do something. But struggling is the way you learn. You would never walk ever in your life if someone picked you up all the time and carried you.
Well, George, I want to thank you so much for being with us today and talking about Camp T there in Michigan. But I want to remind all of our listeners that I feel as though this is an exciting camp, and I wish there was a camp like this when I was coming up. And it does assist individuals to know that there's someone that understands you, but also is going to give you that push to make sure that you're very, very good, strong, and confident while you're out here. I want to thank my engineer and producer today, Catherine Jarbo, for keeping us on the line so we can hear this wonderful stuff that George had to say. So this is B. Leonard right now signing out to you. Until next time, have a pleasant day.